we had a battery quit. So, and I'm not sure when it quit it. So basically what I've been doing is I chopped the lettuce down that was over here. That was a Muir lettuce, and he has gone into the refrigerator. And I have a pot here of Hercules carrots, which is one of the first replants I want to do. And they've been planted. That's a reminder that I should water the greenhouse. They've been planted, and there is a layer of perlite over them to help them stay moist, and I am going to water them thoroughly right now. Now, the soil here was dry but not bone dry. I am still going to probably water it 2 or 3 times today because I want to start building up a reservoir of moisture in there. Now, I was busy deciding what was going to go into this pot. This pot was used previously for, oh, I've forgotten what it was used for now. Pak choy or something? Yeah, pak choy. So that's cabbage family. I am going to plant something that's not in the cabbage family. So that was one of the big decisions, was what was I going to put in there. So I do want to plant some radishes, but those are in the cabbage family. So I am therefore going to plant something from a different family. So what do we have here? We have a lot of brassicas which need to be planted in. Here we go. Perfect. These are beets, and beets are in the amaranth family. So different family, different needs. So I'm going to get this guy up. I'm going to mush this guy over a little bit. And so much easier to work up here than it is to work down there. I'm going to add just a little bit more soil here because I feel like this is still short. Let's see a centipede running around in here. A baby centipede. I'm not real thrilled with baby centipedes in my pots, but this year they seem to be everywhere and there is nothing to be done about it. So rather than arguing, I'm just going to ignore them. To my knowledge, they don't do any damage. They eat organic matter. I don't think they eat roots. And the pots that have had baby centipedes in them don't seem to have suffered any damage, so I'm not sure whether they came in with the soil or whether they just were here and decided that it was a good place to have babies or what the deal was. Anyway, that's better. One more. I want the soil to be low enough so that when I go to water it, the water's not going to instantly flow over the sides, but I am tamping this down a little because I want it to make sure that I'm just not a lot of fluff there, and I water it and it just goes and there's nothing left. Okay, so beets it is. I'm going to do 2 different kinds, Touchstone and Red Ace, and I don't have labels for either of those, so I'm going to go make some. Now, earlier I was talking about the fact that some people fuss about people using plastic labels. And to be honest, if you're only growing one kind, all you need to do is write down what you've got. Some people will actually use a stick and just stick an empty pouch on top. Now, where we live, that usually doesn't work unless you're inside because it will blow away. I am using, yes.
Hello. Okay, I'm done down there.
Okay.
And I will see you in the house. I've got a few things to do there. I'll pull the water out later on.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay.
All right.
You could take a short bucket with you.
That's what I do.
Yeah, take a short bucket. Yeah. Henry has this nutrient solution and it's all done now, so he's taking out one of the buckets and we'll get them all out. Usually we use them for watering the plants in here. He's just going to take them out and we'll use them in the garden to water something. We don't need any water right now out there because we've had rain. What a scary concept. Anyway, so back to this thing here. People will fuss at you because you're using plastic markers. Our markers usually last for a couple of years, and by the time they are done, as in the plastic is literally falling apart. Now, I have tried wooden markers. I have had trouble with them getting moldy. I have some nicer, newer wooden markers. I will probably try them at some point. But meanwhile, I'm going to use the plastic markers. When you use these kind of markers, any kind of marker outside, you need to use a garden marker, rather than a regular Sharpie. A Sharpie will fade in the sun. And there's nothing like having this lovely, lovely label and you can't read it because, I mean, there's not even a hint of the color there, and yet you know it was well labeled. Very frustrating. If you're only growing one variety, this doesn't matter. If you're growing a bunch of stuff, you probably want to know what you've got. You know, these two types of beets that I'm going to grow here are going to be really obvious when they're done, because one is going to be golden colored and the other one's going to be red. But if I was doing something fussier than that, it would be really nice to know what I had. And it'd also be nice to know as the process goes on. Well, gee, these are growing really fast. These are not growing as fast. These are not germinating. These are germinating. You know, do I need to replant something? It's nice to know before the party's over, so to speak, who attended. So we're going to sow these seeds about a ½ inch deep, 3 to 4 seeds per inch, and then thin to every 2 inches. So I'm going to plant these every 2 inches, and I'm going to plant them about a ½ inch deep. Let's see. I'm literally just spreading my fingers like that and making marks all the way around this bucket. This is not a row situation. We don't have rows here because, well, it's a round bucket. So I've learned from experience that the best deal I can get out of it is if I just make holes and dump the seeds in them. I don't get obsessive about it usually, once in a while, but I don't usually get obsessive about it. But, you know, I just made a bunch of holes with my fingers while I was talking to you. I'm making them a teeny bit deeper. Do, 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 do. There we go. And now I'm going to put half of these in one flavor and half in another. Okay, 11 Touchstone Golds. 11 Touchstone Golds. Ubiquitous paperclip. There's nothing like spilling seeds all over the floor. These are red ace, so that's a red radish. 10. So 11 of the yellows and 10 of the red ace. And in this case, I'm going to just dump new soil on top because I don't want to have it become too shallow by smushing in those holes that I made. I'm still trying to maintain the planting depth. I don't get my micrometer out and try and figure out if I've got it exactly to the millimeter. But I know from experience that they said those things on the package for a reason. Some plants, seeds really barely need to be covered at all. Others prefer to be covered quite deeply. We generally plant on the deep side here because we're such a dry environment that planting the seeds on a deep side creates more of a success situation. But you have to make sure that there's not a crust on top of the soil that is going to keep your stuff from coming up. So, there we go. Touchstone Gold on that side, red ace on this side, and we're ready to go. I use a rose because I don't want to wash things away. That's what that thing is at the end of a watering can that has little holes in it that makes the water come out gently. that has become a rare commodity these days. A lot of the watering cans today are much too, have holes that are much too big. I found this one at IKEA. Okay. Done. Push it back. So all I have to do now is keep that watered. And 50 to 55 days from now, we should have beets that look like beets and are edible. Hopefully. Until next time, bye. And don't forget, keep on brainstorming.